Check, check.
Check, check, check.
It's nothing like a gathering with friends and family to remind you of who you are really thankful for. Justin Tucker, we love you. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 390 of the Anthem podcast, coming to you from all over LA, but Corey is, of course, back in the Anthem studios, gentrifying LA one neighborhood at a time.
Yes, thank you for
That's not the right one. Hang on. Hang on. That's not the right one. If only we had a producer who would produce the show so I don't have to stare into a bright ring of light while also producing the show.
With a one contact lens.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. Thank you. The easiest way to find us is on anchor.fm/OTheAnthem, where it will direct you to all the different podcatchers which carry the podcast. And Rob will tell you all about the socials.
Yeah, you can also follow us on social media at The Anthem everywhere. And, of course, we are now live not only on Facebook, not only on YouTube, not only on Twitch, but now on Twitter. So you can find us on Twitter as well. And we also do have the Discord, which I have gotten back into because the people at work, well, we lost a lot of people. And we're like, how are we going to stay in touch? And somebody was like, I made a Discord here. And I was like, I only kind of know how to use this. Okay, cool. It's cool, Gen Z. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. It's fine. We have one of those too. So if you're listening to the podcast on any of those locations, you can comment there. It'll bring it into the Discord. Or you can join the Discord directly. We'll send a link out for that. Anyway, you're back.
Indeed.
You're back at the LA studios there. Came back to a warm welcome from Brooks. Oh, I guess no. He gave that welcome to Roberto earlier in the day. So, you know.
He did make a bit of a mess on his last day.
He basically was like, where are these people? Fuck this. I just took shit everywhere. Just, somebody's going to
I'm going to send a message. I hope he doesn't think that's how he gets us back real quick. You know? Like, if I'm on work one day and we just leave him alone for 8 hours, we come home to... No, he's never done that sort of thing before. So I think that was just a weird...
Weird. I think we do need to analyze the potential that former producer Roberto is poisoning your dog. I think we have to. And if he's going to be around your child, I think we really need to analyze the breakdown of this. Do I think he would poison a dog? No. Do I think he would let some chocolate fall on the floor and just be like, man, it'll be fine. I'll figure it out. Maybe. And then you add that to a child who, given the genetics of both parents, is going to have an uphill battle from the beginning. Clearly, ginger, curly hair, lots of freckles, just a demon spawn.
Let's not put
All right.
Let's not put all this bad juju on the child.
Peanut allergies. Oh my God. Oh.
I'd be more worried about Roberto like going like, the baby can have honey, right? And I'm like, no, not for the first year. He's like, oh.
We should probably keep a close eye out.
I made her a honey sandwich. I'm just like, well, you realize she's just doing bottles at this point, right? Oh,
well, she's like 3 months. That's listen. I was given honey sandwiches when I was 3 months. You're from Mexico. Your family was broke. They were just like, give the kid anything, it'll be fine.
Also, honey is toxic for children. So
I mean, also he wasn't broke. He has gold toilets. So anyway,
but yes, I've returned home. Went to go see my little brother get married up in Carmel by the sea.
Beach to the altar. How'd that happen?
What's that?
He beat you to the altar. Little brother, beat you to the altar.
Well, it's fine. I'm really not. I wasn't so concerned about it.
18
I remember
years. 18 years. You got one of your kids got you for 18 years. Anyway, sorry.
Time will come for me as well. But it was.
Don't be so hasty. Listen, just because he's going down the aisle doesn't mean you have to jump down that particular hole. Well, she's already got her hooks in you. She's not going anywhere.
I mean, part of the problem is, like when Brendan got engaged in 2019, and they were like, "Oh, we'll get married next year." Mm-hmm. I was just like, "Oh, okay." So that gives me about a year to get to let them have their moment, and then we'll move on to other things, if you will.
And somebody said to herself, "We are speeding this fucking timeline up." All right.
For some reason, this whole thing got accelerated a little bit somehow. So somehow the wedding got pushed back a year. I don't know exactly what happened, but
yes,
it's okay. Fuck me.
Wait, so his timeline got decelerated down. Yours now is in crunch time because you've got solidly maybe 3 weeks to get that girl to the altar, or otherwise, You know what the Catholics have to say about a child born of unmarried parents, Corey. You're a very strong Catholic. You're a believer. You're a believer in the faith. We covered this.
Yeah. Not so much not so much in favor of the church, just the faith. If only the church was as good as the faith, it would be.
Listen, there's a whole other.
And, that's not saying much because the faith ain't all that great either.
There's a whole other half of Christianity. I don't know if you've looked into, but there's singing and there's dancing and there's screaming in other languages that you don't actually speak. It's a lot of fun.
I was talking to we were talking about godparents and christenings and all that, baptisms and all that sort of stuff.
You realized you knew no Catholics who could actually be.
and it dawned on me that the Rachel's church, where one of her nieces got baptized.
Yes.
It was like an 8.5 hour long ceremony.
Oh yeah.
People were like running down the halls and screaming and just randomly in the middle of a quiet moment, just like hallelujah. So no, I'm not trying to do that. Thankfully, Brendan's wedding was a very dignified affair in the middle of this really cool place called Holly Farms.
The preacher asked, "Do you take this woman?" He said, yeah, I guess.
Sure. I mean, we're already here, so
I feel like it would have been a waste of all these people's time. So yes.
Probably shouldn't have thrown a big party if I was gonna say no. So.
By the way,
yes.
Yeah, good job not inviting me, Brendan, because if you took a pause at all, I've been like, I object. No. Do you see her? Do you see her in this dress? No, absolutely. There's no pause. All right. That pause was for thought, and there should be no thought. I mean, I would say the same thing about Roberto and his girl, except for there's no way she's going to take him to an altar. He'll be gone long before she gets a white dress on. So anyway, go ahead.
And yeah, it was fantastic to see all friends and family, and literally everything with the wedding just seemed to go off without a hitch. And it's cool because you meet people from Brendan's life throughout different periods of his life, so like I have friends in Hofstra, and I have friends from high school, and I have friends from LA, and I have friends from, like different points in time in my life. And if I had a wedding where I was inviting all these people, then they would all show up, and I at some point my dad meets some random friend I made in LA. And it's like, how do you know Corey? Like that. It's just a cool experience to like sort of be introduced to the tapestry of somebody's life in that way. Like where you get to meet all the different people from the different portions of the life. I think I just think it's really cool.
Yet another reason I cannot get married, because there are people who just cannot. They cannot come into contact with each other.
Cannot mix and cannot be a mixed company.
No. Yeah. Ooh. Imagine my dad meeting some of like the super lefty people I was hanging out with. Yeah, that'd be.
Perhaps you need to have separate receptions for different.
Well, I mean, yeah, because no alcohol at the wedding either. Also, no wife. So
big deal.
What's that?
Do you think that would be a big deal?
No, he
if he had like an open bar at the wedding.
Yeah, he does weddings all the time. Well, he used to do weddings all the time, so
yeah.
It's not a big deal for him. I, however, am missing the key.
I thought he was going to object to the idea of there being liquor at the wedding. Like,
on general principle, yes. He would
not object enough to like not show up or something.
No. In his subtle, non-cursy way, he would say, "You're enough of an asshole when you're sober. Why is somebody going to give you an open bar?" So, but not use asshole. You're enough of a jerk in person regularly. Why would we want to give you an open bar?
You're enough of a troubled soul.
Yeah. Luckily, missing the wife portion of that, so don't have to dodge that bullet again for the 6th time in my life. Anyway, Corey, go ahead. How's your weekend?
No, it was just really good. It was fun to see everybody, and I knew a good bunch of these people already because I grew up with Brendan. Like I know those people. But yeah, I don't know. It's just such a cool experience to be a part of. And yeah, I hope everyone has a brother who gets married because it's fun.
Not to ruin the cute wedding talk, but let me ask you, good for a screenplay, maybe way good for a good life thing. You invite all of your exes to your wedding. You have a special section. And you seat them in order of, I would have married you if I wasn't marrying this girl. And then
just throughout the course of the ceremony, just readjust them.
No. Oh, well, I mean, yes, but
just
not
be like, Annie, go to position 2, please.
Not just readjust them, but
yes,
right before the ceremony starts, that's when you start the lightning round, where we figure out who is going to end up at the front of the church with me today. Honey, I hope it's you. I really do. But I have been stalked by that girl for the last 15 years. Do you know me better than she knows me? Let's go to the big board.
That's dedication.
Listen, I blocked her years ago, but she has started multiple fake accounts to continue to follow me. And, of course, everything's public. So, again, I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to give me your top answer, what you think I would say or how I would react. We're going to put
top
it up
on the board.
Yeah, and then we're going to give it to the other side, see if they can steal. Here we go.
If you made a big game out of it, I think people would show up. I mean, none of the people who would conceivably be getting married to you, but others.
I was going to say, like, the bride wouldn't show up.
Like, yeah, there would be no girls to be contestants, but there would be an audience to watch it.
And now that this exists, you can play this for her. The fictional person who will never be there, and at my fictional wedding that will also never happen. Just all week she's just like, listen, fuck boy, if you try some fucking game show bullshit on me, and then she comes out, everyone turns towards her, everyone's smiling, I've got tears streaming down my face. She gets to the front, dad hands her off, passing that property from him to me, and then we turn toward the priest, and then I signal to you, and you just drop the big veil over the big board, and you're just like, I'm just kidding. We're not gonna actually do it, but
top 5 answers on the board. I still like the diner way of doing it with the Baltimore Colts test. It's like
I would have always assumed you would have a similar test.
Before you get married, she has to get 75% right on this 40-question test. And then,
I would have assumed you would do that, but the
there it
girl...
is. She gets 29 out of 40, and then I walk out the door, and I'm just like, wedding's off.
Now, again, you got to give the competition a chance to steal. Who here thinks they can do better than 29?
Who can do more Baltimore Colts? No, but I just wanted to add one last thing here.
Sure, yes.
So, obviously, like, I go from LA to San Francisco, both, like, urban liberal havens.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to Carmel, which is like sort of like the eastern shore, if you will, of California in a way. It's not so, they got teeth and stuff like that, but there's not a lot of people.
Hey,
that's basically
eastern shore, not Dundalk. All right, calm down.
I'll tell Rachel you said that.
Hey, you got to worry about your child. Don't be worried about Rachel. Don't worry that your child comes out with 3 teeth and doesn't get any more of them the rest of her life.
She comes out, she's like, "Where's the hot sauce?
I want crabs for Christmas."
Only crabs will do. No, but it's just so funny that, like, you forget it sometimes when you're stuck in, like, LA or something like that for a long period of time, that, like, California is this freaking humongous state with so many goddamn people in it.
Yep.
And like, I haven't even done, like, the northern California, like near Oregon part, and that I'm sure would be
that's
particularly
pure.
Like
no, that's pure America. That's like, I want my gay friends to be able to protect their marijuana plants with AK-47s. That's everything north of Sacramento and the Bay is just God's country. That's truly God's country, where he's just like, banks? No, we don't fuck with no banks around here. Like, okay, money lenders out the door. I get it. What about weed? Weed, very cool with weed. Great, it's a plant. Jesus would love that. What about AK-47s? Because we don't fuck around.
We don't fuck around with banks around here. Oh yeah, what are you doing? Oh, cryptos mostly. I gotten into Cardano recently.
And that's when the reality.
I have a little Dogecoin and a safety. Safe location in case it spikes.
Talking crypto, who bought like $1 million or 1 million crypto coins and was very excited the other day.
It wasn't that I was like super excited about it. I just spent $10 on some Shiba just
and you're
because.
A millionaire.
No, well,
you're
I'm
a Shiba millionaire.
I'm a Shiba millionaire. Yeah, my $10 got me 1.1 million Shiba coins.
That's a currency you can buy. You can stick your hat to. I'll tell you what.
Well, no, I'm saying, I've spent $10 on way worse things in my life. And
speaking of which,
for whatever reason, then Shiba goes through the roof, which it could be because it's one of the 15 cryptocurrencies that I actually know the name of, which is my barometer for how well something is doing.
By the way, Corey missed the news story. Missed the news story that happened the week he was gone. That China has now outlawed all crypto, and the markets are just tanking everywhere. And everybody's like, "Yeah, Guatemala made it a currency." China outlawed it. Guatemala.
I think you were behind on your data.
Why is that? I mean, I don't follow crypto because being a non-hypocrite as I am. Crypto is killing the planet, so I refuse to invest in it. So.
Some of crypto is killing the planet, but not nearly as bad.
The largest coins are the ones killing the planet. The ones that are traded most often, that have the largest exchanges, are killing the planet.
Yeah, but so is banks. So how about that?
Interesting. You would have commented about how capitalism sucks on your phone that was produced by capitalism. Yeah, bitch, I gotta participate somehow. How the fuck am I gonna pay my rent? I mean, if I had a female landlord, maybe we could work something out. But
yeah, I seem to be down a bit.
Well, I mean,
but, it's okay.
A bit on your $10 investment. At least you're not 40,000 in on Bitcoin. Like, I'm down a bit. Half. It's fine. It's totally fine.
My Shiba's only down 2%. So,
which
my
$10 if your portfolio lost 2%
actually,
in 2 weeks.
Hold on. It's more than 2%. Basically, I had $9 worth of investment, and now I have $8.21 worth of investment. So
kids, if you can't do basic math, don't get involved in cryptos.
Now's the time to buy.
Double down.
Time to go hog wild.
Double down. $18. Here we go. Anyway,
listen,
California
will never get cheaper to buy than now, except for tomorrow when it goes down again. No, just for all those California people who live in LA or San Francisco or San Diego or Oakland or San Jose or Sacramento, where 90% of the people live. I would recommend from time to time going out in the middle of nowhere and enjoying yourself a little bit, because it's kind of fun. I've acknowledged that I would never feel comfortable living in Carmel, but it's a really cool place to visit. And former Mayor Clint Eastwood, I think, was it Clint Eastwood or who was the mayor of Carmel?
Things I don't know and don't care. And as you know,
actor, Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood was the mayor of Carmel for a while.
Yeah,
in April of 1986, he was the mayor of Carmel.
We're going to get to this story a little later, but Corey, of course, also known for giving legal advice to the Landry family.
Shut the fuck up! Don't say anything.
And go somewhere where there's not people. Just go.
No good comes from talking.
Anyway, so moving on to the news of the week, a story that is nearly 2 decades in the making. No, it's not a failure of the American military in Afghanistan predicted by me nearly 20 years ago. It's not the downfall of Western civilization. Stay tuned. It is predicted by Dave Chappelle on the Chappelle Show in March of 2003. Not really predicted, I guess, called out by Chappelle.
Well, I mean, like, I would say that, so what I find interesting about this whole thing is, like, Hannibal Buress talks about Bill Cosby in his stand-up special, not like on TV or nothing, just a random show in Philadelphia. Yeah. And it gets recorded, and then it's on Twitter later that day, and then it's trending and viral by the end of the week. And then people are just like, hey, yeah, what about Bill Cosby? And then the gears start moving and figuring out, like, which one still has, like, some sort of
statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations, thank you.
Yeah.
Left, and they get him, and now he's out because of procedural. Just because I can't grab a random legal word off the top of my head. Anyhow, it seemed like the wheels of justice moved fairly quick on Cosby. But R. Kelly somehow probably was at the peak of his people knew that he was problematic as of 2003. And now here we are in 2021 where he's finally found guilty. Granted, not on any charges of rape or anything like that, but mostly racketeering, which is the way they get you when they can't get you on the actual thing. When you've done something wrong, but they need to get you on something.
Keep in mind, everything he did, Scarface got taken down by the IRS in a racketeering charge.
That's very true. So, I mean, I guess thoughts. Like,
here's the lesson.
Where are we at?
You can pee on whoever you want. You can, drop drugs on whoever you want. Just pay your taxes, folks, because otherwise the government they don't care who you are sleeping with, whether they're underage or not. They do care that you pay your taxes. So I'm looking at you, Jeff Bezos. Pay those taxes.
Oh, wouldn't that be grand?
I mean, listen, if it was out there, the wife or ex-wife would 100% have come out of that divorce and been like, okay, so by the way, little boys, it's real weird. He's got a thing. So just to fuck with him. But he's not the judge from Caroline County, so it's not little boys.
Clearly. Well, that kind of reminds me. Have you been hearing about the Xander Kane thing at all?
No.
He's a hockey player for the Sharks.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he's still currently a hockey player with the Sharks, but he was, as of last season, a hockey player with the Sharks. And him and his wife are in the middle of a divorce. And she put up on Instagram that he was sexually assaulting her and that he was gambling on games. And then the gambling on games got the NHL we have to investigate.
Now we have to get involved. Thanks. Yeah.
But it seems like, at least, according to their investigation, he didn't do anything untoward. He just likes to gamble on things that aren't the are determined on whether or not he plays well in a hockey game.
Listen, the man gambles on literally everything else. He's putting down Vegas bets on the stoplight out in front of the Tropicana, but not hockey. He just doesn't bet on hockey. So what you're saying
he should really just look at the crosswalk because it'll tell you how many more seconds are on that light.
He's got a bit
over under 20 seconds on that light. Hold on, let me. Oh no, we're at 30. I'll take the over, please.
He's got a bit of a Colin Kaepernick situation where girl talking on social media, trying to get him in trouble. Did. Yeah. But he got out of it. So
well, R. Kelly. I just always find it weird that like sometimes it takes this long, and in the meantime, R. Kelly is living like a celebrity-filled lifestyle.
I mean, yes and no. He's got like the kidnap palace, but I don't know how well he was living. I mean, when you're keeping 2 or 3 women hostage, it's real hard to live a good life. So,
no, when I'm not saying, obviously this is not me saying that, thank God he had more time to do bad things. That's the part I'm not happy about. But I mean, like, it's always it was like with the same sort of thing with the Epstein thing, where like he got the slap on the wrist the first time, and then gets to continue living like a millionaire for the next 15 years until he gets
billionaire
until he gets caught up in the next thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of disheartening. I often think of myself as the type of person who, if I do something wrong, if I do something illegal, like I don't know, like what's a good low contact or a good low stakes hypothetical I can put out
smoking
there?
Marijuana.
Yeah, if I'm smoking marijuana in a place where I'm not supposed to be doing it, I would imagine, in my mind, I always think I'm going to get arrested this moment, and then I'm going to spend the next year in jail, and then I'm going to go in front of court, and I'm going to be found guilty for 20 years for my marijuana offense.
Corey,
and then I will spend the time in jail. But R. Kelly gets to continue bringing women over to his danger zone, and
I think on the plus side,
all kinds of trouble
for R. Kelly. He's a young, like early 50s. So when he gets decades in jail, we will be here for many, many years of R. Kelly in jail. So that's good. Unlike Cosby,
I mean, I guess,
and
does this open up any room for restitution, do you think, for people who have been outside of the statute of limitations but have some sort of
Nope. Because there's no finding of guilt against him for any of that. So there's no grounds for restitution. They'd have to sue him. And I would just say, I mean, it'll be easier to sue him now because, he's in jail. So, hard to organize a defense.
Be harder to do the defense. Yeah.
Which is the number one thing why you want to get release prior to trial. So you can help build your own defense because it's real hard to do it from jail. Let me tell you. So, but I think we have some more pressing issues than R. Kelly. Because there is a pending doom, an impending, if you will, doom coming to the United States. Now, it's not the loss of a 20-year war, their second one in half a century. It's not the coming economic crisis. It's not COVID, although fuck all of you, honestly. Just fuck all of you. Every single person, everybody. But it's in fact that, and no, this is not 2018. 2017, 2015, 2013, 2012. This is 2021, and here we are again. Government shutdown pending this week.
Oh, so forgot about 97 as well?
Oh, I mean, we could keep going back. Basically, every year of the 90s was pending government shutdown because the Republicans just were like, nope, fuck them. Nope. Until it backfired the one time. Then they were like, okay, man, we should chill out on the shutdowns. That didn't really work so well. But this Thursday at midnight going into Friday, at 11:59 p.m. on Thursday, technically the government should shut down. All funding ceases at that time. Now, that doesn't mean that it will. They have a chance to sidestep it. There are votes coming up on bills, namely the Corey's favorite 2 bills. What are they? The 2 bills. Give them to me, Corey.
Well, it's the Build Back Better bill. And the one is the Infrastructure Act, like the actual what the money is going to be spent on.
Investing in Infrastructure Act. There is alliteration because Americans are dumb.
And then followed by the actual reconciliation bill,
yes.
which is the one that gives the $3 billion worth of money, hypothetically.
Yes.
To depending on how much it gets carved down by Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin.
Fuck Kristen Sinema too. I mean, for COVID, but also just for many, many reasons. Fuck Kristen Sinema.
Yeah. I don't. You know what? With the fucking Joe Manchin, at least I can see where he's coming from. Deep red, West Virginia.
Yep.
Your chances of you're not going to find another Democrat who will unseat Joe Manchin. The best you're going to be able to do is find somebody who bloodies him up before the general.
Yeah, and then the Republicans take the seat.
He has to compete against a Republican in a state that would be more likely to vote for a Republican.
Although a lot of people there, I think a lot of people there vote for Democrats because they still think it's 1946 and they don't know what a Democrat is. There's just a lot of old guys showing up and like, nope, I vote Democrat, always have, always will. Way back till what was it?
Ever since Byrd.
Yeah, but who was before Byrd? The guy who ran for president in 48. And
Strom
Thurmond. Ever since Strom Thurmond, I've been a strong Democrat. Byrd was my man.
Strom Thurmond left to become a Republican.
I really love
like the 80s or whatever.
I love that I could see Robert Byrd at the Klan meeting on Thursday, and then once again on Friday
on the floor of the House on Friday.
Yep. So that's West Virginia.
Welcome.
By the way, no joke. Robert Byrd, former head of the Ku Klux Klan, also Strom Thurmond, former head of the Ku Klux Klan. So
to be fair, they weren't heads of the Ku Klux Klan.
They were like just Grand Octopi or whatever those fucking things are.
They were just well-esteemed members of the Klan.
They were heads of local chapters of the Ku Klux Klan.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just they weren't David Duke, is all I'm saying. Well, not that it matters.
To be fair, David Duke never got to the level of Robert Byrd. David Duke was a low-level member of the Klan who became nationally famous. Robert Byrd.
I thought he was the chairman.
So he was the chairman of the pack that is the Ku Klux Klan, but not the actual Klan. He wasn't the Grand Dragon or the Grand Poobah or whatever they call it.
Grand Wizard.
Yeah, he wasn't the Grand Wizard. But he also wasn't they have like the weirdest.
I just wonder.
things.
Sometimes I wonder if my Google judges me when I type in things like David Duke, KKK job.
You're on a list. Welcome to the list, buddy.
I'm on the list now. Yeah. Anywho, going back to the government shutdown and the infrastructure bill.
We can only be saved by the Ku Klux Klan. That's what we're saying here. And by that, I mean...
Why won't the Klan make a stand on the infrastructure bill?
By that, I do mean that we need to start a pyramid scheme where we use something from before as a representation and then pyramid scheme the fuck out of it and convince a lot of poor white people to support it.
You know, it's funny because I think back to the South Park episode where they were like, they wanted to pass something that wasn't popular, but they had to figure out a way to make the other side less popular.
Yeah.
They dressed up as the Klan and they're just like, I don't support this new road. It's just like, well, now we all support the road. Thank you. And you know, we laughed about it when that episode of South Park aired like 20 years ago. And now to know that if the Klan actually came out and they're just like, we're not in support of the infrastructure bill, 50% of the country will just be like, yeah, exactly. That's why I don't like it.
This bill does not really represent me. Yeah. And so let's just say we dodged that bullet. Still, the what is coming is two things. One, half the Democrats don't like either of the infrastructure bills, so they don't want to vote for reconciliation because it means voting for one of these bills. Even if they could get all the Democrats aligned on one of the bills and one amount of money, the Republicans have basically said, "No, we ain't voting for it. We'll shut this shit down. Don't even play." And I mean, they'll do it because they never learn their lesson, and they, as you pointed out in the pre-call, they have suffered no consequences from doing that already. So. Yeah,
I mean, you know, Ted Cruz won re-election. I mean, narrowly, but you know, he won re-election. So, and he was the Grand Poobah of that one. Of the
Klan?
Let's shut the government down for no good reason.
Oh, okay.
He was the Grand Wizard of shutting down the government at one point.
Yeah.
But I don't. If there's going to be no consequence for shutting down the government, then Mitch McConnell has no reason why he should cooperate with Democrats at all.
Yep.
And I mean, we just need a straight party line vote, right? We don't need 60 for this one, right?
Nope, straight party line.
Yeah. So.
And that's to avoid the shutdown, not the reconciliation bill or anything like that. But the straight shutdown you could avoid with straight party line. But
yeah, I mean, I think McConnell is hemming and hawing on that one, but I think at the very least we'll get a CR.
Yes,
that pushes the government shutdown until at least the debt ceiling crisis a month away.
Well, and I was going to say, so the next thing coming up after that is that
we'll get a 30-day CR on the government shutdown probably.
Like, listen, why ruin one thing about the country? Let's just ruin the whole thing all at once. Because let's hit the debt ceiling and default.
How about let's make sure that none of the government agencies have any money and we don't have any credit.
Yeah. Yep. That's the Rob Cheek School of Finance right there. Just like scream at the bankers and then also tell the credit cards to fuck off at the same time.
You're laughing at my crypto investments over there.
I mean, listen, even if I was to do all of that, if I was to act like the U.S. government when it comes to my personal finances, I would still have more wealth than you have in those cryptos. I'm just saying it will never be anything. But yes, at the end of October, we hit the debt ceiling, which means we can run as much debt as people will give us. So we'll take credit as long as people will give us cash. That's fine. But the U.S. Congress has to approve borrowing up to a certain amount. And since we get further in debt every single day rather than digging ourselves out, by the way, we gave Israel $1 billion a day in 2019 and just approved more money for their Iron Dome program. So, yeah, AOC voted for that. AOC, remember tax the rich dress?
Yeah.
Voted for spending money on the Iron Dome in Israel. So, yeah. But we're going to hit the debt ceiling, and that means no more credit. Not that we couldn't get it, but that we can't take any more debt. Unfortunately, that also means that we default on the debt that we currently have, because the only way we can pay for the debt that we already have is by increasing the ceiling on the debt, because we don't have any cash. So we'll have a credit default. We'll probably get downgraded again by Moody's. We went from AAA, which we'd been forever, to since the beginning of the rating system, to AA. And if we get downgraded to A, we will be amongst countries like Lithuania.
Yeah.
Like, solid economy. But, I mean, I wouldn't give them more money than their GDP every single year. I mean,
at this point, it seems pretty clear what a lot of this Republican strategy is, which is if the economy fails during these 4 Biden years, then that's only good for Republicans when they try and come back, because pre-COVID, things were going, well enough if you looked at like the stock market and stuff like that as your defining point of how well the country is doing, which is not always the best. But what do they care if fucking Biden's economy collapses? They'll just come back with their guy in 4 years, in 3 years, and they'll be good to go.
Now, and that's,
they'll be able to say Biden ruined the economy, even though it was certainly the Republicans who did it. And then,
to be clear, a bunch of millionaires are willing to ruin the economy. They will survive the rough times. Millions of people will be homeless, jobless, and they have nothing to rely on, so they'll be hungry, and bread lines will be 10 miles long, thanks to Reagan. No government money will go to this at all. But the Republican millionaires will get their guy elected next time. And that's most important. Most important is our quarterback is in the White House. Because if our guy's not there, let's ruin the whole fucking game.
Well, if their guy's not there, then they can't put more judges on the Supreme Court or, gerrymander for the next... I
mean, they could still do that. They do that at the state level.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is kill them all and let God sort it out, right? Like, I feel like that's where we have to be. We have to just be like, if you're going to take a shit in democracy, let's take a shit in your graves.
Let's go with a little bit more positive, which will make us feel a little bit more negative, and then we'll end with a little bit more positive here.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
A little bit more positive. The cyber ninjas, the group, the completely
legitimate, completely upstanding group, independent.
The ragtag group of election specialists put together by Donald Trump to look into the Arizona recount has finished with their count and finished with their report.
Oh no!
And it showed that Yeah, I know. You're worried because rather than cyber ninjas, they should have just been like, this election was stolen LLC or something like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So how much did Trump win by?
He actually lost votes.
Oh.
Which is like unbelievable. Biden got 99 or so more votes, and Trump lost like some 230 something votes.
Shame.
So the vote share actually raised for more for Biden, which is just like, it'd be like if I hired Rob as my lawyer. And then in his opening remarks, he started with, "Look, we all know he's guilty." I'm just like, motherfucker, I trusted you.
I'm fair and balanced. I don't know what to tell you. I'm
not allowed to lie in front of the court. I don't want to. I didn't do it.
Have you seen the evidence they have? It's pretty strong. I don't know. Oh man.
But yes, what could have potentially been the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to anybody.
Yeah.
Ends with Trump in front of a crowd in Georgia. I don't like talking about Trump, but Trump in front of a crowd in Georgia, talking about how the results of the Arizona recount, the Cyber Ninjas report, showed how fraudulent of a process it was, and how the election needs to be decertified and he needs to be president again, blah, blah, blah. And the crowd just cheering like, yeah, that's what the report showed. And people are going to start 50% of this country is going to really think that this Arizona report showed that.
Yep.
And I know this because there was a Jordan Klepper Daily Show video from, a while back during the first impeachment of Trump, where Trump just kept saying, read the report or read the transcript of the call with Ukraine.
Never quoting it strangely, just saying, go read it.
Yeah, go read it. It'll show you that I did nothing wrong. And him just saying that out loud was enough for people to say, well, the president said he did nothing wrong. And to read the transcript and it'll show it. And then, Klepper goes in with like, well, have you read the transcript? And it's like, no, I haven't personally read it. It's like, well, how do you know what it says? It's like, well, just that there's no shenanigans there. It's all on the level. It's like, yeah, but to be clear, you haven't read it. Like, nobody's going to read this goddamn report. Nobody's going to look into it. The auspices of the idea that there is fraud going on is enough for any Republican. There doesn't have to be proof at the end of this thing.
Listen, I remember a previous upstanding president saying, when the president does it, it isn't illegal. So I just assume everything's on the up and up when he says it's on the up and up. I don't know how else we can take that, honestly. So
I mean, he wouldn't lie to us, clearly.
Of course not. Yeah.
I mean, when has a politician ever lied to people? That would be a first if it happened now.
We're slowly turning into the democracy of Drew Carey's Whose Line Is It Anyway? Where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. Here we go.
All I know is this is going to end up with Trump and Biden running against each other again in 2024, and I will be so angry. And everyone will tell me I have to vote because it's so important, even though I live in California where it really doesn't matter. And I'll feel like an idiot because for the next 20 years I'm voting between shit sandwich and
giant douche,
giant turd. Yeah,
giant douche and the shit sandwich. Also the name of my Spotify playlist where you can listen to Certified Lover Boy and Donda on the same playlist. Yeah, and I mean, listen, if we're lucky, they'll both have heart attacks sometime in the fall of 2024, and then we'll just have nobody. That'd be great. Let's just go nobody for president. Maybe America needs to be single for a little while, feel itself out.
Do you remember when like some small town elected like a golden retriever as their mayor?
Yep.
And like everything was fine.
Regularly elects the pets as their mayor, and always fine. Never a problem.
Somehow it just manages to be okay. I mean, the dogs are really keen on the intricacies of budget reconciliation. But
I will say this: instead of the dog, why don't we elect the Irish president as our president, and then he can bring his dog? Because that dude is amazing, and he takes his dog everywhere, and like. It's super funny to see the dog like behind him at speeches and he's like scratching the dog's head while he's giving a speech. Like that's what I want. That's the president I want. If I'm going to go for a crazy old man president, I want Irish crazy old man where he's got the dog.
He's got a burner too.
Yep. Yep.
Oh.
Takes a dog everywhere.
I love this.
Yes. Let's elect him.
Oh, yes, we should do this.
By the way, I just want you to remember that I'm walking around with this all the time.
I like the fact that he kind of looks like Bernie Sanders too.
Yeah, enough that the libs will get on board, but he's pretty conservative for Europe anyway. So maybe we'll get some of those Republicans back, and I think he's the perfect guy. We just need to make him a citizen, clearly over 35, so he's going to be fine. Can we fraudulently?
Well, he has to be a naturalized citizen. So.
Yeah, well, let's get Obama's people on the phone. See if we can get a birth certificate for this guy.
Oh, Jesus Christ! We really need to go into that again.
Just wait, man. 2024, it'll be a thing again. Just wait.
Well, if this wasn't all enough, now we have to worry about an impeachment trial.
I'm so terrified of impeachment for Biden.
Lauren Boebert, class clown of the Republican Party, which is already
elected congressperson. Elected congressperson.
Put out a Tuesday press release. Where it said we must impeach Biden.
It had a graphic. There was a graphic. That was somebody.
They hired somebody to do a graphic, and it said impeach Biden. Instead of, obviously what they meant was impeach Biden with a P. They dropped the P.
I don't think she knows that. I think she heard people talking about impeachment, and she was just like, I'm on board with this impeachment thing. Like, let's do this.
Does this mean Alan Amici comes here?
I'm down for Mr. Michi being president at this point. I don't anything, honestly.
Listen, he scored a touchdown in the greatest game ever played. I think we should give him a shot. I think the most embarrassing typo I've ever seen, other than the University of Baltimore when they sent your graduation letter. Do you remember this one?
No.
Inviting you to graduation.
Oh yes, that's right.
A school of higher learning, misspelling graduation on the envelope.
That was I believe, my law school graduation, if I remember correctly.
I think we joked around whether or not you were getting an actual degree. Like if this was some sort of.
This is how they tell you it's a pyramid scheme.
You didn't graduate, you graduated. Don't you know what that means?
Right. With honors, though. With honors.
It means you gave us a lot of money, and your piece of paper is worthless. It's like, well, that's what the graduation was too. Yeah, but it's not legally binding.
Well, on Sadder News, let's talk Sadder News, because we should lightning round our way through this. We're already at an hour, so lightning rounding. Yeah. And not to make light of it, but I was trying to remember where we were when we talked about it. I do remember in the pre-show call I said, hey, there's these 3 things that have been happening all summer, and we should talk about it because it'll probably play itself out coming into the fall. And then on Monday, or on Tuesday that the episode dropped, Gabby Petito's body was found in Wyoming. And it was like, oh, wow, okay, so this is going to be a thing. And then that Tuesday is also the last time anyone saw Brian Landry, because he just walked into the woods and disappeared. And nobody's seen him since.
And I said sane legal strategy.
Yes.
Just shut the fuck up. Don't say a fucking word.
Don't say anything. Maybe
don't
not
say anything to the media. Don't say anything to the cops. Don't say anything to a prosecutor. Don't say nothing to nobody. Just let this shit play out.
Also, not good advice to tell your client to flee for prosecution, but I imagine he might have read between the lines on that one.
I like to imagine that the lawyer is like a Lionel Hutz type, where it's just like, listen, my advice to you is to flee on that dog. Do you see the flea? Sorry, I got distracted. What was I saying? Oh, I can't remember. I'll leave. Oh, there's that flea again. Flea.
I mean, maybe.
Hey, have you ever noticed how that dog doesn't ever say a fucking word? He just sits there and shuts the fuck up.
I just imagine it's some dude.
Maybe it'd be
Northport.
a lesson to the rest of us.
I think it's some dude from Northport, so you never know. It's some guy in like a Tommy Bahama fucking shirt and sunglasses. Like, I don't know, guys. Like, don't talk to the cops. I know that much. Jesus, don't talk to them.
The lawyer just seen going to the airport, flying to Guatemala. Where are you going, sir? Oh, I'm not actually a lawyer here. See you. Bye.
But in the past,
we shouldn't laugh.
Yes, we should. In the past 2 weeks, some things did happen. They did find her dead. The DNA was a match, so they identified her officially. And, arrest warrant was put out for the boyfriend, mainly because they can't find him. So I think the arrest warrant is more like you are a person of interest, and the
other thing is if you hear in the news that you have an arrest warrant out for you and you casually decide you don't want to appear to the precinct, then they can add extra charges. So he better be in a place where he has no TV or internet, or if he's dead.
I was gonna say, so the one of the options, because another thing that happened was they executed a DNA matching warrant over the weekend, which is we have rights to come into your home and grab anything that might have his DNA on it so that we can provide a profile to match against. This could be for one of 3 reasons. Number one, they found DNA on or around her body, and they want to match that to him, like somewhere under the dirt or in the dirt where it's like, oh, there's no way this could incidentally get there. Or if they have a murder weapon. And to be fair, it's been ruled a homicide, but the mechanism of death, the manner of death is homicide. The mechanism has not been released. So if it's like gunshot wound to the head, okay, that's probably a murder. If it's, asphyxiation, but of unknown origin, well, I mean, listen, that could be things like that could lead to an accidental death. Yeah. And then he freaked out, left the body, and then went home, which I would advise no one to do. Don't do that. Because, again, their option, the second reason they might want the DNA warrant is because they found a body in the national park or whatever, the reserve, and they want to match it to him to see if it's him. Because apparently one of the last things he said to his family was that if he wanted to die, that would be a good place to go and die, because it's very beautiful. And, if you're going to end your life, you go to a place where you can enjoy the last few moments. It's camping, something he liked, or, walk-ins. So he would walk in and then just never walk out. So that's a possibility. The third is that they just want to create a profile to match against in the future. But that doesn't seem very likely because apparently it was very pressing. The warrant was issued on a Saturday by a judge, executed the next day. So it's as if like, oh, we have this profile to match against, but we have nothing to match it to. So we need to get some DNA so we can match it. Now, that may not be the case. It may just be that also we haven't heard from him, so we want to get in your house and shake things up a bit. See if anything comes loose. But
yeah, maybe ask the parents questions like, oh, you seen your son recently?
Well, I mean, listen, being in the house, because also I feel like this family is one of the ones that isn't going to vamoose when the cops show up. Like, no. Like, why would my mom's hairbrush have his DNA on it? Put that down. You don't need that. And that's the opportunity for you to be like,
our Guatemalan lawyer is on the way. Don't touch the fucking thing.
But if you're the cops, then you're just like, oh, so, somebody spotted Brian going down Route 15. You're like, why would he be on Route 15? He never goes down Route 15. He would always take 60 if he was going to go.
He hates 15.
Good to know. He takes 60. Because now I'll check the video on 60 on Tuesday and see if I see him, whatever.
Right.
Right now, all they have is missing person in the reserve, because that's where he said he was going. No phone, no wallet. Which also kind of lends towards the suicide ideal, because it's just like, I don't want anything on me that's going to be worthwhile for somebody to find. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out.
Wouldn't you feel like an idiot if you stole some guy's phone and it happened to be the guy everyone's looking for?
Oh, God.
They're like tracking you just driving back to Disney.
So there was... this happened in a movie, but the movie took the story from an actual thing where a guy was asking for money outside of a gas station because he wanted to buy a phone card. And somebody who was on the lam was just like, you know what? Why don't you just take my phone? I need to get a new one anyway. And so the unwitting now accomplice is like, thanks, sir, and starts making calls and then hitches somewhere. And, of course, the cops follow him based on the pings on the phone all the way to wherever he is. And they get there, and it's not the guy they're looking for. It's another guy. And they actually arrested that guy as an accomplice, even though he was later released. Because it was just like, man, I didn't know. I asked for $5 to get a phone card. Dude handed me a phone. You gonna say no to an iPhone? Like, come on, man. Come on. Anyway, so they let him go, but they put it in a movie later. That's a really smart thing to do. Or like turn your phone on and toss it in a truck going down the highway the opposite direction that you're going, because they'll go the miles the other way till the phone dies. Like a truck or two.
Throw it in a barge that's going across the Atlantic or
there
something.
You go. Yeah. It looks like he might have smuggled himself aboard a ship. So we're going to spend $40 million to go out and stop this ship and search it. Because right now they're spending $100,000 a day searching this reserve. $100,000 a day.
Yeah.
I just hope that if anything untoward ever happens to me, that they don't investigate whatsoever, but spend whatever you would have looked for me. Spend that money housing homeless people or feeding hungry people, because it'll be better. It'll be better spent that way. I don't give a fuck. You can wrap my body in newspapers. Put me out for the trash.
I would also like to say, while we're wrapping up this little Nancy Grace segment of the show,
yes,
that I've heard the many cries of, why aren't we talking more about the many other people who go missing and found dead?
Yeah.
Especially in that particular area, there's a huge problem with indigenous women going missing, or indigenous people going missing. To which I say, yes, this is very much a problem. Anyone who has ever had anyone missing will tell you that getting the word out there is often the hardest part of like trying to get, just to have enough people see it to maybe give you some information as to find that person.
Why don't all those missing people have Instagram accounts that have hundreds of thousands of followers? Then people would care.
I really think that we will have to have a discussion at some point about the media's role in this, as far as like what they choose to run with.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, that it is, sadly just part of like what gets clicks and likes and shares and stuff like that is usually what rules the day. So.
And going back to the good advice, bad advice from a lawyer, I can imagine a scenario where he lays out the whole thing. He's like, listen, we got into a fight. I said, I'm going to leave you here for the night and I'll be back tomorrow. And I hitched out of there and I stayed the night, crashed on the side of a road somewhere. Then I came back the next day. She was dead. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this. Or maybe she was missing, whatever. But I just figured she decided she was done and she was going home. So I came home. Or I didn't know what to do with the body. So I buried her there and then left. And then the lawyer being like, you're fucked. We should just not talk to the cops as long as possible. And do you think we can get him out of the country? Does he have a passport? Can we get him out? No? Okay. Maybe you just want to go somewhere and lie low for a while. Which is good advice, but also bad advice. Because then the lawyer leaves and he's like, well, I'm not going to jail for 60 years. I am 21 years old. Fuck that. And goes off and kills himself because somebody made him think that he would go to jail for the rest of his life. So, yeah. Also a possibility. Also, Nancy Grace, I'm glad she's fallen out of like national favor. I haven't watched the show, but I imagine at some point he has already been called a murderer by Nancy Grace, who is never wrong except for like 50% of the time. And she just doesn't talk about when she's wrong. She just backtracks it and then reassesses. But like calling people rapists and murderers.
50% of the time, it works every time.
Every time. Yeah, she will call people like rapists and murderers, and then that becomes the narrative all across the news. And then it comes out like, oh no, wrongly accused. My whole situation was fucked up.
My favorite part about Nancy Grace is that she'll go into some big long diatribe and then just like sort of snake in the word allegedly at some point, like a producer whispered in her ear, like if they were doing like.
They're going through the teleprompter, and then somebody's just flashing, allegedly. She's like, I'll throw it in there at one point.
Rob Cheek, who raped and murdered 6 women, allegedly.
That basically it. Yeah, that's Nancy Grace. Former prosecutor, Nancy Grace, who, much like many people, is capitalizing and doesn't care how it makes her reputation.
I mean, to be fair, as a prosecutor, you end up you end up speaking more in definitives because you're trying to make the case, you know?
Yep. She's not a prosecutor anymore. She knows better.
Oh, I know. I get it. But I'm saying, like, if you were a prosecutor and you were, like, you know, delivering remarks to the jury, you would say, murderer. I hope to find this man as a murderer.
No. Because at trial, you can actually call him a murderer.
Yeah.
You are making the accusation, and I'm about to prove to you. I'm about to prove to you, this man is a murderer. Now, here's my case. It's made up of 2 points which are not directly connected, but if you believe the way that I believe, they are connected.
You will find that he is a murderer. Yeah.
Yes. And then if you're in Baltimore, good chance you're not going to go down on that rap. If you're in Texas, oh boy. When you kill somebody in Texas, they kill you back. So be careful. But talking about long diatribes, our last main news topic. Listen, kids, you should pull up close to your speaker box or your headphones and listen to me closely.
Please don't yell.
I'm not going to yell. I just felt like a dad. I felt like a dad for a second. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to yell. I'm disappointed. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed.
I was just making sure because I really would hate for somebody to like turn up the volume or get real close to their speaker and you'd be like, fuck yeah, guys.
I mean, I could go that direction. Internally, if this was a movie, internally we would cut away to me like screaming and punching some unseen person in the face. And then cut back to me being very calm and trying to get my thoughts together and say 2,000 people dead a day.
In the United States, yeah.
In the U.S. That is our new 7-day rolling average. It has not been this bad since February, which, as you'll recall, were prior to the vaccines. And then it was bad for a while. It is worse than this time last year, which we thought was terrible as we started to skyrocket up this peak that we had no idea we were going up. It is worse than April of 2020 right now.
Yeah.
When everyone was like,
this is the
what
second worst peak.
Yes. So, and we say peak, but there's possibility it keeps going, and it likely will keep going up. So we're on the upswing of something. And
yeah, but we don't know for sure. It's sort of hypothetical at this moment, but it could continue going up. Yes,
it could. And I just see everybody living their lives. And I said on our pre-show call that, what was the math? I had the math. 144 million is a big fucking number. But if I told you that right now, between 5 days ago and today, there was 144 million chances for COVID to mutate into a virus that will kill 95% of the people on the earth, including people who are vaccinated, I don't think people would care. But maybe that number would be more impactful. But essentially, every person who's infected, there's about 2,000 dying a day at a 2% death rate. That makes it about 100,000 infections at any one time in the U.S. on this rolling 7-day average. You are infectious for about 14 to 15 days, which means that the virus is replicating in your body for about that long, and it replicates 4 times an hour. So that means 144 million opportunities for mutation every 15 days or so. But realistically, it's not, because it's a rolling 15 days, just like the death average is a rolling average. So
yeah,
at any point, this virus could mutate and kill everybody. And I'm hoping for it at this point. I hope that a version that only attacks people younger than 35, older than 6, younger than 35, and it just kills off an entire swath of the population. Because I think that's the only way we're going to be able to get people to stay inside.
Well, I mean, honestly, I thought kids would be the thing. Like, you know, like kids and babies are the ones who are getting sick.
Dead kids, nobody cares about that. We'd close schools if we cared about that. We'd closed everything down. But the economy is more important than dead kids, even if those kids are white.
I mean, honestly, I really, to me, the whole thing comes back to Trump deciding to downplay it.
Yep.
And trying to act like it wasn't a big deal, because this has started a whole cottage industry of people saying that it's not a big deal and it's just like a flu and blah blah blah. And now we're at the point where 50% of the country is just not going to be convinced. Like you might be able to get them to get shots hypothetically if you make it a requirement for like having a job or like getting on an airplane.
And I know people who have told me personally, let them fire me. I'd rather be fired than get it. Are you fucking dumb? Are you? I mean, you are. You are fucking dumb. Let's make it an impactful statement. You're fucking dumb. Because even if you're vaccinated, which isn't a good excuse, like kids under 15 are not vaccinated. So
yeah,
how do you feel about killing your niece, your nephew, your coworker's child? Do you like the idea of their death being on your hands? Because it could be. And I did post the Instagram video this week, so you guys can go find it on Reels. But the response that I got was all like, "Oh no, fuck her," about this person who made this very callous statement. And it was so ironic that half the people who are like, "Oh my God, that's fucking crazy. Oh, she's the worst," are also people who are going to Vegas, going out, going on to Mexico for the week, and then coming on my Instagram and arguing to me that person's fucked up, even though you're doing the same shit. Oh, I 2 weeks ago or so, somebody said, "Listen, I don't know what you want us to do. Everyone's a fucking hypocrite. I mean, everybody but you is a fucking hypocrite, because I have continued to live as much in isolation as I possibly can. Also, I like this life. I wouldn't mind if 95% of the world's population died. I'd be happy. Not like immediately, because that's a lot of like getting rid of dead bodies that you have to do. I would hope it would be a slow crumble. So most of the bodies got buried.
You're hoping 4.5% of the remaining population know how to take care of all the...
I mean, listen, I know how to burn a body. That's not that hard. 60 pounds of wood for everybody to get it up to 6,000 degrees and cremate it. Anyway, I'm walking around with this all the time. What I hope is that it's crumbled slow enough that most of the bodies get taken care of, and then I only have to take care of like 5% of the non-survivors. And then eventually I'll have to take care of some of the survivors too, I'm sure. But
to me, what the...
care of, I mean...
I just don't know what message needs to be sent more clearly. Like, you know, like I look at the state by state, like where cases are going down and up and stuff like that. And literally everywhere is up, conveniently, except for California and Maryland, the two states I care about most. So
maybe I will make it in for Christmas, Ma. We'll see.
Well, I mean, like, you know, I think part of the reason is, you know, like, honestly, especially for Maryland,
COVID daddies.
I think what
COVID daddies.
No, I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that you know, there's Johns Hopkins there, and people in Maryland just generally trust when Johns Hopkins says something.
Yeah,
like like if any of us get hit by a car or a bus or like needed some sort of like experimental surgery, like you have a heart condition or something like that, we'd all hope that they'd send us to Hopkins.
Yeah. You got like, got the helicopter? Looking for the helicopter ride. Come on.
I mean, like clearly, you might want to go to like shock trauma for something really bad. You know, like if you got shot in the face or something like that.
I get, but for surgery, for treatment, I guess.
Yeah, like, you know, if I needed a brain surgery, I'd hope they bring me to Hopkins.
Well, listen. Conveniently, if I was in a terrible car accident, they could take me to shock trauma, which is at University of Maryland, stabilize me, and then drive me 15 blocks up to Hopkins. And that's where I'd like to be brought in as a patient, if you don't mind. Get me out of shock trauma, put me in the ambulance, take me up to Hopkins.
Get me good enough to get it in the ambulance, and then the Hopkins will finish the
They'll finish the job. They'll finish the job for you. I appreciate all of you.
Thank God they're both in network.
And I mean, like, that's Maryland. You're absolutely right. Like, I think that there is a level of like, oh, well, Hopkins is kind of leading the charge on the cases and what to do, and people in Maryland are like, well, I trust them. So, I mean,
also the Republican governor has been leaning into like masking and vaccines and stuff like that too.
COVID daddy, yeah, like COVID daddy Hogan, yeah, exactly. I mean, Newsom's also that, but
yeah, but you know, like,
but Hogan doesn't have a French Laundry. That's all I'm saying. I haven't seen Hogan out eating crabs unmasked. Maybe he does. I don't know, but I haven't seen it.
He does it outside.
Listen, Gavin. Gavin,
crabs are an outside thing.
The rule is exactly what my old boss's wife said. I don't give a fuck what you do. Just keep it out of my face.
Like, by the way, maybe Gavin should have taken this tact. San Francisco Mayor London Breed was at like a jazz club or something like that last week. I think I heard about this because I was in San Francisco at the time. And San Francisco has an indoor mask mandate for like any kind of event.
Right.
Unless you're actively eating or drinking. That's the rule. Like if you're taking a drink, you can take your mask down, take the drink, put it back up, stuff like that.
So what we all should be doing. Yes.
She was at this performance, and she had her mask off with a drink in her hand. And like everyone was just like, oh, fucking her French Laundry moment. She was inside of a bar without the mask on, and she's just like, all right, come on, fun police. Can we understand that like the act of taking the drink isn't necessarily like pulling the mask down, sneaking it in as quickly as humanly possible, like a 5-second like quick spurt, and then putting the mask up as quickly as you can.
I mean, it is for me.
Perhaps
when we're at the movies, that's how I am enjoying the movie. It's like mask off, handful of Raisinets, mask back on. I can chew with the mask on. That's not a big deal.
We have one last thing. We'll make it quick, but it requires a little trip down to Sports Ball.
See, that's how much setup I need. I need just the slow talk for 2 seconds. Bam, we're right on it. We're on it.
Let me set the scene for those of you who don't know. It's the fourth quarter of the Ravens-Lions game in Detroit. The Lions are up by 1.
For inexplicable reasons. It should never have been this way.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
And the Ravens have, oh God, I think it was like 35 seconds left on the clock when they got the ball back.
Yeah. At their own 25, right? At their own 25, I think.
Yeah, I think it just went out the end zone. There were attempts to go down the field. Many of them did not go the way we intended. But
which is a bigger question and why we couldn't get it done. But anyway, go ahead.
But Lamar did convert a 4th and 19 to keep the drive alive. And
what's our version of Hey Diddle Diddle for Lamar?
This one,
skedaddling
this play.
I know, but you got
Sammy Watkins.
You had like a whole saying that you're like, Hey Diddle Diddle, and then
Ray rise up the middle.
Well, I didn't want to say his name, but yes, okay. What is you got to come up with a saying for this?
It was before we knew that.
Oh, right, true. Okay.
It was when he was respected in the community. Though, unfair, because he is still respected in the community because he decided to take this awful moment in his life and invest a lot of time and money into trying to do right in the community. Yep. So
and undrafted free agent Greg Rice doing really well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That was a joke back in the day. It was Ray Rice with a mustache, and it was like, oh, Greg Rice playing. Yeah. Good.
Anyway, 2 seconds left on the clock. Justin Tucker lines up for what would be an NFL record 66-yard field goal.
Without a club foot to be seen. Without a club foot to be seen in the whole place.
Yeah. Without a little sledgehammer underneath of his shoe. Nails a 66-yard kick, setting the NFL record by 2 yards, which is quite the thing, by the way.
Okay, well, before you dive into how great it is, he nailed it.
Yeah.
Hit the crossbar, and every Ravens fan hates that bong sound because it has never worked well for the Ravens, ever. If you hear the sound of a ball hitting the crossbar, the Ravens are losing, and it's an important game, likely. But this time,
Billy Cundiff is kicking.
That's also true. But this time, it did work itself out. Bounced off the crossbar and through the uprights. Yeah. 66 yards. Crazy.
There was a video I was watching on athletes named Bob, and they were talking about this long jump participant who broke the record by like 4 feet.
Yeah.
Like when every single time the the record was being broken, it was being broken by like 3/8 of an inch or 1/2 of an inch or something, like some really small number or small amount of feet.
And then a dude like flies past the judges
4 feet beyond that and
right.
just like crushes the record. That's kind of what a 64-yard kick is when the previous record was, or 66-yard kick is when the previous record was 64. That is a huge. It keeps jumping by like maybe a yard or so. Like every single time it gets broken, it's 61 and then 61.5 and then 62 and 63 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of times these are happening in Denver where the air is thinner and a 63-yard kick is equivalent to like a 55-yard elsewhere.
This segment brought to you by fans of Justin Tucker. Fans of Justin Tucker, when you got to make it even more important than it was.
All I'm saying is I love Justin Tucker. I love Justin. I'm so thankful, man. I watch football games where like some kicker comes out to like, you know, hit some like 35-yard chip shot field goal and they miss.
Are you watching my fantasy football teams? Because both of my teams, that's what happened this weekend. I'm like, how did you miss 2 of the 4 PATs you kicked? 2? Yeah. You missed 2 of them?
I mean, like the image is out there. Look for Justin Tucker when he missed a kick, like an easy enough kick for him. It was like, you know, a 38-yard field goal.
Yeah.
And he missed it. You'll see his face, like his eyes are all wide. Like, what the fuck just happened? Like, this doesn't happen to me. But not only is he the most accurate kicker in the NFL history, but nobody is as clutch as Justin Tucker.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I saw the stat, but basically in fourth quarter kicks or overtime kicks with less than a minute left in the game, or like some sort of deciding kick moment, he's 12 for 12. And this includes this 66-yarder in Detroit, and includes the 60-yarder he had in Detroit a couple years ago on Monday Night Football with time expiring. Justin Tucker jokes that he's going to buy a house in Detroit. I think that he should. It's not that big of an investment. Royal Farms will pick up the tab.
I was gonna say, honestly, they probably give you a house at this point. They're like, oh, any of these, just we got
if
the
it'll
keys
make
down
you
at the
think
bank.
about signing with us at some point in the future.
You could kick here like 8 weeks a year. I'm just saying.
Kickers got great. They go longer in the career than most others, other than Tom Brady. Tom Brady is kind of the kicker of quarterbacks, if you will.
Well, much like a kicker, you can't even physically put your fingers on him or it's a penalty. So he gets that kicker treatment. It makes your career a little longer. If you're Vinny Testaverde and you're taking it on the chin every third play, it's going to be a shorter career, although he did play for a long time. So,
by the way, did you happen to see the commercial for Sunday Night Football this week?
No,
because it's Brady going back to New England to face the Patriots for the first time.
That's cool. Yeah,
they had set it up to Adele's "Hello," and it was quite the vote. It was pretty cool. It's very funny. I'll send it to you. But yes, thank you, Justin Tucker, for saving our ass yet again. The Ravens are currently 2-1. This is exactly what I think the record would have been if you asked me before the season, but not necessarily the wins that they thought they would have lost to the Chiefs.
I was gonna say
beating the Raiders, but
in the off week that we weren't doing live, Ravens beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, crazy.
And I will say the saddest thing about that, in case you're listening, the saddest thing about that game is that I wasn't at home because I realized that like 2 previous times, my buddy Cherish and I had either gone to the game or like met at the game because we were both going, but we knew like you're going to sit with the Chiefs people. I'm going to sit with the Ravens. We can't be like together, but we'll meet up. We'll meet up when we're up there. It'll be fine. But we weren't able to do that because of COVID and, whatever.
That reminds me of two quick points I'd like to make on our way out here. Just super quick. Number one, I got up in time to be able to watch that Ravens Chiefs game with my brother, which is the first time like we've watched a Ravens game in the same place in a couple of years. And that was a lot of fun. And secondly, before the intros, they did Omar's whistle for Farmer and
Farmer and the Dell.
Farmer and the Dell, and I knew the Dell part. I thought I got the Farmer part, which is why I stopped.
Do you know what a Dell is? Do you know?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Hello.
But
that's a Dell.
Wow, you with the dad jokes.
Oh man.
But
I'm sure I got a kid out there somewhere.
I think they should make that permanent. I think
100%.
for the rest of the time we should come out to Omar's whistle.
I mean, do you remember
clearly people taken in the spirit in which it's intended, and not honoring the character of Omar, the murderer who kills and robs people of their drugs. But
Ray Rice's last season, they did the like lights out, play Ray's like little theme of him coming out and doing the dance. I think for this season, you just kill the lights and all you hear is just the whistling in the stadium.
Yeah.
And then you can play your stupid video where it's like, a flock of ravens is called in unkindness. Or whatever.
Yeah. I like those.
It's actually that's because it's for you. It's for people just like you. Breeders who are in their late 30s, who this is all they have. This is everything. Did you hear new phones coming out? That's the other thing you have. Phones, minivans, Sunday football. That's America for you. That's why we're going down the drain, folks. I'm angry.
Well, you know what else people like that should have? theanthem.com. theanthem.com. Should I wait?
Go.
theanthem.com. theanthem.com. And the Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
443-219-7595.
New content.
Not this week. I was in San Francisco. I was in Northern California.
Wait. Before you do your spiel, can I just remind everyone? I did a daily podcast for 100 consecutive days that included the holidays and my own birthday.
Yeah.
Did not miss a day.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Talk about why you don't have new content. Go ahead.
CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/Corey Baker Film at LegendsCP5. On Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Now back to Rob.
No. What do you got planned? What's in the cooker?
I don't know. I'll fucking figure it. I really see. Here's the thing. I don't want to like. I really appreciate and like the audience that tunes in for the things that I make, but I just feel like the size of the audience is clearly showing me that I'm not reaching enough people. So I'd rather come up with something that can be more entertaining to more people, as well as the people who have been enjoying what I've been doing. So that's basically the plan. Also, I'm not going to movies anymore right now. So mostly because they don't have movies out there for me to watch. The options are a lot fewer.
Yes. The what would you call it? For the
theatrical experience?
No. The types of movies. They're they're stupid people movies. That's right. It's all stupid people movies. Corey doesn't want to enjoy this. So.
Well, I mean, I could do a review on the latest Fast and the Furious, but I had seen it like 8 weeks after release, so it felt like kind of irrelevant at that point too. You know?
Fair enough. Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll tell you what is cooking. A baby, and it's gonna be born in like 4 weeks, and then Corey's never gonna make any content again. So I hope you guys enjoy the catalog of content that's available, because you're not getting anything new for a long time. For me, I angrily screamed into a phone twice in 1 week. That's available on Instagram at Robert N. Cheek. Same across all social media: Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, everything at Robert N. Cheek. Gonna make another video screaming into my phone about Gen Z and why they suck this week, but more generally just the American public, and why I'm angry, because I'm really angry. I black-pilled myself so I don't care, but I've reached a level of not caring that I'm just angry all the time. So basically I've turned into Lewis Black, just so we're clear. I'm officially I've made the jump. I'm Lewis Black, but you can find that
only not funny.
First of all,
sorry, you set yourself up. I couldn't avoid myself.
An apartment with 3 pairs of weightlifting gloves, but I got to carry the conversation, the jokes, and everything every time I'm there. I am funny without saying anything. I can say something and then stand up and just put my hand on a man's shoulder, and the entire room bursts into laughter in a way that is unable to be translated to Twitter. Trust me, I tried. You just can't. The moment was lost. But RobertandCheek.com for what stuff I'm working on. I do stream on Twitch occasionally. Twitch.tv/RobertandCheek. Oh, surprise. Join me on Call of Duty. Anku Keris. ANKOUKERYS on Activision. That's everything.
All right. Well, I think we've done good here today.
The contact not working has been more of a fuck up than I thought it was going to be. I had to take out my contact prior to the show, and basically, like, slowly but surely it has gotten blurry. But it's not,
it looks like you have pink eye a little bit.
It's not evenly split because, bifocal vision. So, like, half of this is blurry, and then half of it's like smeared, blurry, completely clear. It's thrown me off a bit more than I thought it would. We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the The Anthem podcast, part of the The Anthem Digital Network. For Corey, this is Rob. Go fuck yourself, America. You can't. He'll read whatever's on the teleprompter. He'll read whatever you put on the teleprompter. Have a good night. Who put the question mark? Christ. Have a good week, everybody.
He went to the Ho Chi Minh School of Medicine.
You remember when there's news reporters that read out the 4 names of the pilots of the plane that crashed? And somebody had put on Wikipedia just like, he fuck you, plane go down, like, and she read them on the air.
Did you know that recently on the BBC they had a story about gas shortages and they sent out venerable reporter Phil McCann?
Awesome. I guess